Future Emerald Magnolia here. Just wanted to let you know that this family and build and my previous family and build are unavailable for download. This is not because I'm trying to keep these things from you guys, it's actually because my Sims games just decided to delete itself from existence. I've lost all of my saves and the only thing I can do is push the new game button. I'm trying to solve the issue as best I can, but there's only so much I can do. So because of this, there will be no montage at the end of the video as I was unable to go back in to take pictures of this house before the issue occurred. Thank you for listening, and here's the video. Enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Emerald Magnolia and I'm gonna make The Sims 4 the way I want it to be. In the previous video I made the Broke family and I mentioned that the son is dating a girl named Angela Pleasant. So today I have decided to make the Pleasant family. If you missed the previous video, I have linked it with a little pop-up in the top right corner of the video. It should be appearing right about now if you would like to watch it. Once again, I am not very knowledgeable about The Sims 2 or any other Sims games as I have only played them a couple of times in my life, so all of the information I am telling today is coming from a lot of research. All of my references I am summarizing are linked in the description if you would like to check it out for more information. So let's get into it. The first Sim I made from this family was Mary Sue Pleasant, the wife and mother of the family. She works as an intern in politics and is very much a workaholic because of her large interest in it. She's so invested in her job, in fact, that it is implied in the family's main image that she has even denied woohoo with her husband. Which is a little strange considering in-game she will autonomously perform romantic actions towards him if free will is on. In her description, it says that she believes that people are inherently good, which helps to set up the main ironic story of this family. In addition to their last name, of course. An interesting thing I learned about her is actually that she's best friends with Cassandra Goth. In fact, they met when they were both children and grew up together. It's really sweet, actually. Next, I made the husband, Daniel Pleasant. Daniel is an assistant coach in the athletic career, and he is the exact opposite of Pleasant. While his relationship with his wife is on good terms, he is actually seeing the maid as well. In fact, when you start the game playing as the Pleasants, everyone except Daniel is at work and school. The maid, Kaylin Langerak, comes over and cleans up the house while he is home, and when she finishes, you have the option to be an unfaithful husband. During this time, there's a prompt that comes up for Mary Sue's work. If you choose one of the choices other than ignore on said prompt, Mary Sue will come home early either fired or demoted and catch Daniel being unfaithful with Kaylin if the player so chooses to be. There is an 100% chance of this happening if you choose one of the options. Daniel and Mary Sue seemingly got together as teenagers, but he didn't fall in love with her until he was an adult, whereas Mary Sue never even fell completely in love with him. His affair also didn't start until his kids were children and continued on until they were teens. So he's been cheating on Mary Sue for a long time without her knowing. After him, we have the twins, Angela and Lilith Pleasant. I'll start off with Angela since I mentioned her before. Angela is the kid that was raised perfectly. She learned how to walk, she was potty trained, she learned how to talk, you know, the basic toddler skills. She is dating Dustin Broke, her childhood best friend, and Daniel hates him. The two are pretty different from each other, especially considering he comes from a poor family and her family is the second richest people in Pleasantview, the first being the Goths. Apparently a lot of people break the two up, which I don't really understand because I think this is Angela's way of rebelling against her parents. Also, her description says that she dreams of being a fishing boat captain, which is her way of wishing for a simpler life, which Dustin seems to bring her. I mean, he's literally as simple as it gets besides the whole criminal thing. Other than that, she's considered the good twin. Her name literally means angel. Her and her sister are actually featured in The Sims 4 if you have Discover University. So I guess that proves they're the second richest family since they can literally go to university with no problems. But anyway, moving on to the final member of the family, Lilith Pleasant, the other twin. Her name means belonging to the night, or in some cultures, demon. From that you can infer that she is considered the bad twin. Lilith got absolutely none of her toddler skills, is a D- student, and she grew up having bad relationships with her parents and her sister. In fact, her and her sister are actually enemies in the game. they do not like each other at all. This is probably because she thinks her parents favored her sister more, so she grew up to be more hostile towards her. When we get to the house, I tried to replicate that favoritism a little bit more by how their rooms look, because even in The Sims 2, there was a big difference in the amount of stuff, as well as the price of stuff. Other than this, Lilith is actually dating Dirk Dreamer, but unlike her sister and her boyfriend, they are dating in secret. I assume this is because she doesn't want the same thing to happen to Dirk that is happening to Dustin, or the other way around with Dirk's dad and her. She dresses in mostly darker clothes, so this was the perfect excuse for me to use the Goth Galore kit and some darker makeup options. Like I did with the Broke family, I made the shell of the house off camera, including the floor plan. The floor plan I found on the Sims Wiki, and I do use the exact floor plan, meaning if you were to compare the build in The Sims 2 to the build in The Sims 4, which you can download off my gallery by the way, it will be the exact same grid-wise. Also, because I know people might ask, the roofing was actually super simple if you use the actual layout of the house. If you use the normal 3x3 roof and just extend it the length of the house without raising it, it will reach the top of the house where the very top gabled roof is. But anyway, the downstairs in the image I used as a reference is extremely empty, like the second richest person in the neighborhood would not live here kind of empty. So I decided to make a regular living room and then a formal living room of sorts. Do formal living rooms even exist? Oh, okay, yeah, they do. But basically, what I did was I essentially made two living rooms, one for when people first come into the house, and another for when no one else is over, you know? I felt a little weird just giving them one small living room to work with, especially because most living rooms are big enough to fit at least 2 couches, 1 armchair, and a TV. So making a second living room that is much more spacious seemed more practical than leaving that back area blank. After that, I moved on to the kitchen and dining room areas. I tried to keep that area as simple as possible, especially because the kitchen is really small. Closed off, the kitchen is actually a 4x4 room, but I tried to make it work by giving them a little bar area that connects to the dining room. And obviously, we don't have a kitchen counter that has a green countertop, so I made do with the cabinets that looked the closest to the ones in The Sims 2. After that, I went to the dining room, which was basically just a table and 4 chairs and some plants. Then I went to Mary Sue and Daniel's room. Their room's walls and carpets are really colorful, so I tried to complement it by placing down mostly white cats and dogs furniture. And the main reason I use the cats and dogs furniture is because it fits with the main aesthetic of the house. The house has a wallpaper that has a wood trim kind of thing on the upper and lower parts of the walls, and in between is either a regular or striped wallpaper. Because it was so weirdly colored, I decided to keep it and just match it as best I could, which led me to the light-colored neutral furniture. Let's just say this wasn't my favorite room in the house. I tried to make it also with more expensive furniture. Since Mary Sue has the fortune aspiration, I like to think that when she acquires that money, she rewards herself with nice things. So not only does it look nice, it feels nice too. I feel like the family might also not like to renovate their house as much, so that's why there's a lot of the same old looking things around the house, or the wallpaper doesn't look like it's changed. Come to think of it, this house looks a little bit like it was built a long while ago. Like, it's a slight mix of Tudor and somewhat modern, so I tried to keep that vibe with the vintage wallpaper, carpets, tiles, and flooring, and the furniture just has more of a modern spin on it. Speaking of, the next rooms are the twins. I made it kind of look like both girls had their say in what their walls look like, so Angela went for more of this pink and white combination, and Lilith went for more of the darker colors. I like to think both girls were sat down and asked what colors they wanted in their rooms, and when they gave their answers, the parents hired people to paint the walls to match. But I started off with Angela's room, and like I said earlier, I tried to show a bit more of that favoritism. Angela has more of a pink and white princess looking room. Everything in her room is perfect and in its place, and she doesn't have a whole lot of clutter anywhere on the ground. She's got a big, nice desk, a giant closet, and even a little TV in her room. I imagine the desk to have a small amount of organized clutter on it, like some notebooks for class or a pencil caddy. I also liked how the desk had a calendar underneath the upper shelf, because honestly, she would have that. She'd have a calendar with every little thing on it, like school events or when assignments are due, even school picture day. Like, she'd be super organized and know exactly where everything was. A lot of the items I used came from the high school years pack, and I absolutely love how it turned out. Her room, when compared to Lilith's in The Sims 2, does have a lot more things in it, and I tried to replicate that by cluttering it up and giving her some nice items around the place. If you compare the two rooms, Angela's is actually less expensive than Lilith's in my rendition of the build and in The Sims 2, which is surprising because I would have thought that Angela's would be more expensive since she is the perceived favorite. I went for a princessy vibe, specifically because I love the idea that she's the eldest daughter and her parents called her a princess at some point in time, like she's mom and dad's little princess. It's also a bit of an excuse for me to think that Lilith calls her a spoiled princess when they argue. I have a strong feeling that Angela was definitely the kid to have a fantasy-themed birthday party, complete with those long dresses and plastic heels. And Lilith may have been forced to be the dragon or something of a similar caliber, which at the time I like to think she hated, but now she probably finds it endearing. But anyway, Lilith's room in The Sims 2 was a little weird. It had stone walls and kind of looks like a dungeon. I don't think her parents would actually let her do that, so I settled for the black wood frame wall with gray striped wallpaper. And unlike her sister's room, she keeps hers messy. She's got clutter all over the place, stuff tucked in the corners of her rooms, posters strung everywhere. I like to think that part of her wanted a TV in her room, but she didn't want the same one her sister has, so she literally just asked for a bookshelf and stereo instead. I feel like she would read so many horror books and watch horror movies. Like, she definitely loves Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe. And I have no doubt that she read The Doll Graveyard in middle school for English class and was unfazed, unlike her sister and everyone else in class. But because she asked for a bookshelf, she's got an awesome reading nook next to her desk with some natural light to shine on the pages. She's got a desk for doing computer work and schoolwork, but she chooses not to the majority of the time. I mean, she's already at a D- in school. She more than likely doesn't like doing her schoolwork as it is. I also used some of the mirrors from the werewolves pack because I love the idea of her being into the witch girl vibe. I also liked the idea that she kicked her full-length mirror after an argument with her sister or parents and had to duct tape it afterwards. I really like Lilith's and Angela's room, and I'm super happy with how they came out. If you like them too, make sure to leave a like on this video. It lets me know to keep doing these. Make sure to subscribe and follow my socials with notifications on too. I don't post on a schedule, so make sure you stay notified by doing that. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!